Hello, welcome to our introduction to drawing class. This is the first one, and the materials that we are going to use, the supplies that we are going to use today, are pretty easy. We are going to use an eraser, which is the normal one, a sharpener, and a set of pencils. The pencils that we are going to use are pretty simple. Any pencil you have at home is going to work, but we are going to go into the particular pencils that we have here later in a moment. And then we are going to use also this sketch block. Any paper you have at home is going to work. The one that we are using today is special for drawing, for sketching, and it's a 9 by 12 inches one. But as I said before, any block, any paper you have at home is going to work for now. And probably for what is this introduction to drawing workshop is going to last. So let's go and work. We are going to talk, first of all, we are going to talk about the materials. And starting with the materials, we're going to start with our pencils, our set of pencils. So we have HB, 7B, 6B, 4B, 2B, and HB. So the nomenclature is like this. HB, okay, means eight number, and the B stand for black. That means that the charcoal is very soft and giving you as a result that you have more black in the paper. Same thing with the 7B, 6B, 4B. So the softer is going to be the 8B, okay, and the 2B is going to be a little more harder. And for sure, the one that we have, the last one that we have here, is the HB, and that is H stands for hard. So that means that it's a mixed charcoal, which is the one that normally we have been using in school, etc., etc. So this is the most common pencil that we have. Okay, so let's move on. We are going to use in the class today, we are going to use mostly only the 8B. Okay, however, later on we are going to use all of them for different meanings, but we have to get familiar with all of them. So we are going to start with that. What I want you to do is to take your 8B, okay, or the higher number that you have in front of you, but B, okay, and you're going to follow what I am going to do. As I said, HB, etc. is something that we are going to use today, and we are going to get familiar with all of them. HB, 6B, 4B, 2B, HB. So hope you have that in front of you. We are going to use today the HB, okay, the 8B, and we are going to start sketching. So first of all, I want you to work on the lines, okay? So we are going to see how I'm not even taking the pencil correctly. So, but it's the most normal way of taking the pencil. Later on, we are going to work a little bit better. So what I want you is just to go and do this kind of circles. See, you know that the hand has to be free. Don't stress your hand. Okay, relax. And we are going to work on these kind of circles, and then we are going to start working on some shading. So I want you to do what I am doing. We are going to create, you know, a kind of rectangle. And in this rectangle, by just going over and over and over without putting a lot of pressure, okay, what we are going to do is we are going to create different levels of dark or different levels of gray. By going again and again and again, okay, from right to left or from left to right, whatever you want, okay, you are going to go more and more, but only on some areas, okay, not the whole thing, because what I want you to learn and to understand is that you are going to, with any of the pencils that we are going to use, always, okay, you are going to create the darkest part just by going over and over and over, okay, in the over the same place. It is not about putting a lot of pressure on the pencil. No, it is because you can break the paper. And also it's going to be difficult if you make a mistake. It's going to be difficult to erase that. The eraser that we are going to use for at least in this first 2-3 classes is the normal eraser that you have at home. Okay. Later on, I will ask you in advance to try to buy another one. Okay. And you're going to see, you mark, okay, so what you have, because we are going to do like a series of samples of the different pencils that we're going to use. We go then with a 7B, which is the one that I have in front of me. If you have another one, okay, you have 6B, well, go for that. And then exactly the same thing, okay, try to create these kind of circles, you know, with your hand. Use your hand very, very freely, okay? And don't worry if your circles doesn't look like a circle. It's totally okay. And then you do exactly the same thing. We're going to do this exercise with every single pencil that we have in front of us. Remember, you don't have to push a lot. It's just that, you know, just with a little but very little pressure, you go over and over and over, okay, with your pencil on the top of the paper, and creating, okay, these areas of dark in some of the places. So if in my case, for example, I started from left to right, okay, I only went to some parts of my left part once, and then I concentrate more from the middle, more or less, to the right, going over and over and over, okay, to some parts until the end. So that way I have a sample, okay, of what kind of dark I can create with the HB, 7B, and then the next one that we're going to use is the 6B. So you see the difference between this one and this one, for sure. AB is darker than 7B. And now we are going to use the next one. We're going to use the 6B, okay? So in the same paper, you can use a paper, as I said, you can use a paper that you want. We are going to do exactly the same thing. As this is something that we are going to see over and over and over. This is the sample that we are creating for the rest of the class, okay? So the next of the sessions that we are going to have, you are going to see this again and again and again, okay? So you first of all, you get familiar doing these round sketches, and then you do this shading part, okay? Go for it. Okay, so we are getting now different tones of gray. Again and again and again to some of the parts, not to all of them. And you're going to see that also the grain is different. The differences are sometimes minimal, but if you are working, for example, in a face, that's going to help. If you're working on a flower, okay, so you know the pencil that you need for some accents, or for, you know, the petals or the pistils. There are some parts that are going to be work better, okay, and are going to be less messy with some, you know, paper and not the other. And so go from low to dark, from light to dark. So we are now with a 4B. We do the same thing. The ideal is that you do all of this a little smaller than what I'm doing, using the same piece of paper, so you have everything on one paper. But because I'm doing this in 2 pieces of paper, so you can see, you know, and it's a little bigger, so you can see. So we do exactly the same thing. First, we practice, we do some round things, and then we work on this sample that we are creating. Okay, going again. And in my case, for example, probably because I was too excited, I am, and I can see I'm putting a lot of pressure. It's less than that what you have to do, okay? So very, very, very soft. You don't even have to see any line when you do this kind of stuff. Okay, if you can get to that point, you are done. You are very, 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 very good. Great. Now we are going to go to not our last, but the 2B. So the 2B, we take the 2B and um, we do exactly the same thing. Try to practice this kind of like loose lines, sketching every object that you have at home later. And it's going to be good for you. So we do exactly the same thing. So we work on the shading, uh, and you see now, and we're going to make a comparison. Okay, we are going to compare the 8B with the 2B, and you're going to see the difference. Okay, we are working very, very, very good. We finish our sample here, and we will go now to the next one, to the HB. But before we have to not to forget what was this, we are going to mark that. We're going to put the 2B sign before we leave this exercise. Okay? Now we go with the last one, HB. The one that I told you is the most common one that we have in school. So we do exactly the same thing. This kind of circles, you can do whatever. If you don't want to do the circles, you can do squares. You can do just lines, loose lines. We mark the HB so we know what we are doing and what kind of pencil we have in front of us, and we do exactly the same thing. Okay. Great. Very good. We are finishing, and then when we finish this, we are going to see, we are going to compare with the other one that we have in the other piece of paper that we have. We are finishing this. Okay, great. Very good. Very good. We are finishing. Okay. Okay. So now you see the difference between these three different pencils, and we're going to compare, as I said, with the other ones. So I'm gonna take out this other piece of paper and compare. Okay. So see the difference. Probably it is a minimal difference, but at home you are going to notice probably more different, from the AB, okay, to the dark that we can get from AB to the HB, from the 6B to the 4B. So there's this scale of grays, different kind of grays or blacks that we can get. Okay, so we are going to start now working. As I said, we are going to use for today class, we are going to use just one pencil. We're going to use just the AB, 8B. Let's go and work together. Your hand must be very free, and go and do circles. Just circles, circles, circles. Very good, very good. And then, if you have an apple or you have an orange or something, we are going to try to work on our first sketch. what I want you to see is where the light is coming from. In this case, I have a window, okay, with natural light in my right hand. So the light is coming from this upper, okay, right part, and I have this dark part of my apple in the other part. But also I have a slight, kind of shadow also that I am going to work. We have to analyze, always we have to analyze where the light is coming in order to accentuate the light and the shadows, and so we can shade in the way that we can represent something that has at least has some volume, and that is the reason because we put so much emphasis on this shading. Okay, so this is an apple. Apple are not, any prosaic. They don't have any prosaic shape, but it is good for you to analyze what I told you about the light. Remember, we're going to work just with one pencil for today, which is going to be the AB, and then once we are more or less convinced with the shape of the fruit of the object that we have, we start working with the shading. Don't worry about lines, of if it is too dark or if you don't want to see the lines. Don't worry about that. It's about practice. Okay, so what I want you is to start just noticing first. Okay. Dividing the different parts of the apple or the fruit or whatever object you have in front of you, divide the parts and realize where the light is coming from, where is the shiny part, if there is more than one shiny part. So you have to notice that, and then start working on the shading. So we are going to go work today with this way. We are going to leave a kind of a hole. We are not, until the end, we are not going to put any color on that part, which is the shiny part. And then we go, with the darker part, which is kind of half of the apple, over and over and over, as we have done before. Remember, you don't have to push a lot of the pencil. Don't put a lot of energy on that. Okay, not too much power on your sketching. It's just okay, very very easy, and try to move the pencil, in kind of little circles. That is the way, for at least for me, that is the way that works better. Realizing where you can go over and over and over to get more dark. In this case, for example, I have like half of the apple is kind of dark, okay, or is in the shadow, but not all of the half apple has the same kind of value. So I am going on the top of what I think has a little more of dark. Okay, it is very simple, and you see how the apple start giving me this sense of feeling of volume. Okay, very 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 good. We keep working on this. And just by going over and over, in the same areas, we keep working, finishing our apple, and so we are even this way by working on the top of the apple. We can even fix some of the shape of the apple if we are not convinced, and trying all the time, trying to understand what we see, where the light is coming from, and that is an exercise all the time. So for example, here, if you notice the reflection of the paper, okay, the light of the paper on the apple make the shape, okay, of the apple look very shape that mostly touches the white of the paper, makes the paper a little lighter. Okay, so and that's what I'm trying to show you here. So there are differences of gray, and then we have the shape. So we are going to work on that. When here I have a real window, and today is cloudy. So, but if I have an artificial light, okay, um, um, I will have a shadow that is very strong. That is not the case, but we will work on that kind of strong shadows later. So we have to try to create a shadow, and by creating the shadow, we are making the viewer okay, believe that this apple is not flying, that this apple is on something. In this case, it's on a piece of paper. So you see. The shadow has also different kind of grays, and you see, while the shadow goes farther, it's going to be lighter. When the shadows go close to the apple, is going to be a little more darker. When we have artificial light, probably next class we are going to do that with the light. You are going to see. You are going to see the difference. So, and we are putting some more shadow, okay, some more shading, and the apple. So there is a difference between the object and the shadow of the projected shadow of the object on the paper. We keep working on that. And we can take our eraser to just to take out some of the color that we have, some of the dark that we have, and trying to imitate, you know, the shine that we have. Even we can be more creative if you want to make a leaf and a pistil of a little branch of apple on your apple. That is pretty okay. Be free. We are experimenting, and mostly this is fun. Okay, now take an object, and this is an object that I am taking from my kitchen right now. So still we are going to work with HB. Any object. What I want you is to start working on objects that you have around you. A glass, an orange, any object, okay? Because it is not today, it is not about creating the perfect drawing. It's about just trying to get familiar with different shades, okay? And with different kind of grades. So I decided this is it's kind of odd perspective what we have here. But as I said, it is not really about drawing the perfect object. It is about just creating a problem for us to shade, and that's what we are going to do. So you don't even have to follow what I am doing right now. Take an object in front of you. The object that you choose is okay. And just what I want is to start realizing the levels, okay, and the variety of different grades that you have, and try to replicate those different grades, okay, with your pencil. And remember, we are using just the 8B pencil. Erase something that you think didn't work, and see how I am using, you know, my hand as a tool to make circles. That is something that you have to try to use always. See, that is not a perfect circle, but goes more or less not so bad. You can do that. And the other thing that I am not doing, because it's kind of difficult for me videotaping that, is that you can move your paper in order for you to make better lines. Okay, so you can move the paper, and if you can do this upside down, that's totally okay. What I'm doing now is working on this on the hand of the cap, and realizing the many different grays that we have here. So we are going to start always we are going to start with something. The same like in watercolor, for those that took watercolor with me. We start with some kind of color, and the color that we are going to start is some kind of, in this case, it's some kind of gray. It's a light gray, and then we go over and over and over. You don't start with a darker gray. You start always with something that is lighter, and then because of the pencil that you choose and the amount of times that you go over and over the same surface, is that you are going to get, the darker color that you can get. And if you don't go over too many times, well, it's going to be lighter. And so this is the way you have to think when you start shading. You can also, use, for now, you can use your eraser. There are other, as I said at the very beginning of the class, there are other kind of erasers. I didn't want you to get confused, so we are going to start with a very, very simple. After the second class, for the third class, I'm going to give you a couple more of things that you can, in advance, so you can get. It's going to be basically a different eraser, and probably some tools for the shading. But for now, we are totally okay with what we have and what you have at home. This is very simple. This is an introduction to drawing. So for you to learn about the materials, how to use the materials, and what I mean on how to use the materials is not only to get familiar with what you can produce with those pencils, but also to start learning to see. We normally see things without seeing things. So what I mean is, for example, in the inside of this cap, so we have many different levels of gray, but we always reduce, the shadows to one kind of gray or dark, and the light to just nothing, just one, no color. So things are not like that. The way they reflect the light is different depending on the characteristic of the object. For sure, things like mirror is going to be very shiny because the reflection is multiple. Okay, metals, normally shiny metals work like that. But then you have this china, these ceramic objects, the fruit, etc. Every single surface, the texture, is going to reflect the light in a different way, and we have to start observing. We have to start really looking at the objects and getting to know them. There is a difference between observing and seeing. We see everything, but we don't observe, the quality, a specific quality of every object that we have around. And that is very the core of any painting or drawing, when we are, for sure, when we are imitating nature, when we are trying to do representational, as is in this case. Okay? So we keep working on our inside of our cap, which is an excuse to just to shade and to learn how to shade and make different kind of grays. So we keep working. Take your time, and remember, try not to do what I am doing right now. And what I'm doing right now, my lines are too hard, probably because I'm too excited working on this video. And my face is a little further from the object. I don't really see the object. I have the camera in front of me, but no excuses. I am creating some lines that I shouldn't be doing. My the amount of pressure on the paper by me should be less than what you see. Okay. So try to be very gentle. The movement must be circular and very gentle. Basically, the weight of the pencil is enough for creating a shadow. Okay, so you don't need to add any more pressure on that. Okay, we keep working on that. And as I said, during this week that we are not going to have classes until next Tuesday, what I want you to do is just to practice with any object that you have in front of you. Trying to concentrate, trying to see where the light is coming from, how many different kind of grays you have. Translate the information from color to grade. Sometimes, and it's a very good tool, just with our phones, to take a photograph, okay, and create a photograph into a grade. Transform the photograph into grade. And that you can do with your smartphone. If you want to, for example, to draw this cap, okay, frontally, this is the way you have to do. Okay, you have to box. We are going to go into boxing next class. So you box objects. This works for bottles, works for everything, and that's it. You see, that's the way you box things. By boxing, you create a structure where you can put the cup in this case, or whatever you can do, the bottle or fruit, etc. Boxing works very good to draw. And at the very beginning, we are going to use the boxing too much, but you have to see where the light is coming from, where the shadow is coming from, and trying to do that. Try to do that at home. Okay. So we keep working on this until the end. This is our shadow. As I said, the shadow that I'm creating, this projected shadow that I'm creating, is kind of a fantasy, because I don't have that strong shadow. Okay, in reality, it's just for demonstration that I am doing this. And you can see the object that I have in front of me doesn't produce that kind of shadow. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy this class.